Welcome back, subscribers, and hello YouTube viewers. On this occasion we're off to Forrest. Now Forrest is a rural township on a river flat in the northern Otway Ranges of Western Victoria. It's 24 kilometres or 15 miles southeast of Colac and approximately 159 kilometres or 98 miles southwest of Melbourne, the state capital. The river flat is on the West Barwon River, and farming activity began there in the 1880s. The settlement was originally known as Yaugher, and Yaugher Primary School was opened in 1885. When a railway line was opened in Birregurra into the Barwon Valley in 1891, a terminus at Yaugher was renamed Forrest. The name was a compliment to Charles Forrest, the Colac shire councillor and member of the Legislative Assembly of Polwarth from 1889 to 1894. The Forrest Railway terminus served several purposes: tourists in the summer months, the changeover point for traffic to Apollo Bay, timber loading from the forest around Barramunga and further south in the ranges, and the receiving point for milk and cream deliveries. Livestock and hops were also grown locally. In addition to Barramunga, there was also the Otway sawmill settlement, about 10 kilometres southeast of Forrest. It had a post office and a school until destroyed by fire in 1926. Forest fires saw many millers transfer their sites from the logging areas to the township. This trend accelerated after World War II as roads and motor transport improved. The railway closed in 1957. During the early 1960s, the West Barwon Reservoir, a few kilometres south of Forrest, was built, bringing a linked supply to the town. After the halting of logging in the Otways, the Government of Victoria made funds available for the creation of dedicated free mountain bike trails in the area in order to replace the logging industry. Mountain biking was seen as an addition to the already plentiful ecotourism industry. Mountain biking now makes up a large portion of the economy in Forrest. There are now over 60 kilometres, that's 37.3 miles, of sign-posted single track for people to enjoy on all levels. Forrest is home to the following annual mountain bike events. They have the Forest Festival, which is a 2-day multi-stage event. They have the Otway Odyssey, which is a 100-kilometre event. And then they have the Forest 6-hour event for teens and individuals. But there is also a running event known as Run Forrest Run, which I believe is held in June, but you'll have to double check. And what I will do with all the information I've provided is leave a link in the description below so you can seek out all that information. Now there are quite a number of rail trails to follow. This is just one of them, and this is also one of the bridges that you'll cross. There's another one that's a bit rickety and I don't think even a rabbit could cross it, but there is the path for bicyclists and for walkers just nearby, and it's a great location to take some photos. Everything is within sort of cycling, and there's quite a number of walking tracks that you can take in the area. So we'll just have a good look at Forrest and see what it has to offer. Now, just as a heads up, there are at least 2 pubs in this town. This is one of them, and the other one's called the Terminus, I believe. And there's also an upmarket restaurant. There's also a guest house, and there are a number of places we can actually eat, and also a number of them also have a liquor license, so you don't have to just go to the pubs if you're seeking a cold beer or a nice glass of wine. just as a matter of interest, the town itself in the past few years has begun to grow and has been an influx of particularly young people or young families who are seeking a more affordable, cost-effective lifestyle living in the country, and in particular this town. The area is very close to the coastal resorts of Apollo Bay, Wye River, Kennet River, and even Lorne, where I've been told a number of people have been able to gain employment. The primary school was abuzz between 8:30 and 9 a.m. with parents dropping off their kids, and it just highlights that this town, I believe, is growing. The internet connection here was fine, so if you are able to work from home, that's a big plus, because some of the towns do struggle with the internet connection. So here we are at the caravan park, and as we pan to the left, you'll notice quite a number of tents at the caravan park. There's also some trendy clamping, I think it's called, where you can see those sort of teepee style sort of tents in the background. Now, this is a great place if you're an educator and you want to take a group of kids with their mountain bikes to do some of these trails. I'm just assuming that the bunch of tents we see in the background is exactly just that, where some school group, maybe some private school or some government run school or program, have organised a whole bunch of kids to come out, pitch their tent, and away they go. There's barbecues here, there's public toilets with the caravan park, and I believe there's showers there also. So if you're an educator and you need a location to take a bunch of kids who enjoy mountain biking or hiking is another thing, this could be a bit of a winner. Now, just as a heads up, these guys might look nice and cuddly, but they have a tendency to spit on you. So I kept my distance. I didn't want them to get too close. On the other hand, these donkeys were super friendly. They came up to the fence and I was able to give at least one a bit of a pat on the head. So here we have the former Catholic church. It's no longer a church anymore, it's in private hands. And there is a sign in the background that states that it could be a possible holiday rental. So once again, because it's not abandoned in any shape or form, You have to respect people's privacy and not enter onto their land unless you're invited or you bang on their front door and ask for permission. So here we are at the Tea House, which is another venue for food and beverages. But what's I found fascinating are the two sculptures in the front lawn. You've got a dragon and you've got I guess you'd call it a Pegasus horse with wings, and they're both made out of bicycle parts, which is very clever. So here we are at the sawmills. Now this is a historical sort of site, and as you read that sign, it clearly states that you cannot enter onto the property unless you make an appointment with the owner. Now I was fortunate enough to meet him. He's also on the Forest Historical Society. I believe he's the president. And there is nothing abandoned on this property. It's all historic. He's trying to re-establish it as a former working sawmill, and he's collecting quite a lot of items that maybe one day he might open to the public. At the moment it is not, and when I spoke to him he allowed me to come onto the property to take the footage, noting that he was quite explicit to tell me that there are snakes in the grass and in this immediate area. And as you can see, just behind this property, it is basically a forest. So you have to expect that wildlife will drift in, and that's why he does not want the public to step onto his property at all, for indemnity reasons, for insurance reasons, and for privacy reasons. It's his property, so please respect that. Also, just as a heads up, a lot of the area and a lot of these properties do have CCTV, and they really want their privacy to be respected, which I think is only fair. So as mentioned earlier, there is a huge investment by the Victorian government in this area of the Otways with mountain bike trails. In particular here at Forrest, they've invested a lot of money. So a lot of the old trails are being updated and improved on, but they're also creating quite a lot of new ones. Now there are toilets here, there's a picnic area, I believe there's a barbecue as well. There's also one of those tool sort of posts that have chains with all these tools. So if you break down or need to do some maintenance, there's a whole bunch of tools attached to a chain for you to fix and use on your bike. Now, this particular track that we're looking at now is quite spectacular because the faster you go, the harder it is. So you can get a young chap on it, on his little trike to zoom around and have some fun. And you can get someone who's got a serious, extremely expensive and experienced mountain bike rider who could find that very challenging. Now, this is an interesting location. I just assumed that this was an old police station, but the thing is, Forrest has its own police station within the town, and this is outside the town. And the only real giveaway is the lock-up sort of shed, which is this thing. When you look at the front of it, you'll see what I mean, to suggest that it's a police station. Now, there is hot water there, there is air conditioning units. Someone is actually going there from time to time, or they're maintaining it. Might be part of the CFA, could be looked after by Parks Victoria. I have no idea, but it was just interesting to see that there. Anyway, let's get the drone up and have a look at Forrest. So we'll head off now to the Forest Timber Products Reserve, where the township has their sporting oval. Now, the town does have a football team, a cricket team, and also a netball team. And what you will discover once I get the drone a little bit higher and above the tree line, it's pretty much encircled by trees, which is quite interesting. And now we'll head off to our last port of call, which is the West Barwon Reservoir. So I'm on top of the bank at the moment, and it's quite spectacular once we get over. So as you can see in the background coming up as we pan to the left, there are some people fishing. Not sure what kind of fish you'd get there, but at least there's another activity that you can do in the township of Forrest. So here we are nearing the end of this video or presentation, and once again where I've sourced all the information and all the credits and any of the other links that I might have mentioned earlier will all be in the description below. So please have a look there and you'll be able to find that information where I got the information from. So if you did like this video, by all means click that like button or hit that thumbs up icon, and please subscribe. Subscribing really doesn't cost you 1 cent, and it really helps out the channel immensely. But most importantly, stay safe, commute safe, and have a great day.